going to discuss, and then
Okay.
we'll go through them one by one. And then if you have any questions, feel free to, chip in.
Sure. Great.
Yeah. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see it.
Okie dokie. Right. Hang on. So can you see you can see the slideshow, right?
Yes, I can see the slideshow.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So let's go right to right. So this discovery session basically is to sort of find out a bit more about, myself and you,
Okay.
and then effectively sort of go through various things, within the sort of IT technical support path.
Okay.
Yep. And then we'll talk through, like, some of the key information about you. We go through like our past review,
Okay.
and then we talk about your path and future competencies. And we talk about your projects, courses, like personal study plan, um,
Okay.
and so on and so forth, really. So, and then
Yeah.
basically we'll talk about, the support network available to you. I'll talk about my role, and I'll talk about, um, uh, the whole mentorship strategy, how it works, and yeah, and how we can work
Okay.
together. I think that's most of it, really. So about
Sure.
19, 20 slides. We'll try to fit that into our 45-minute session. So
Okay.
yeah, I can hear my phone beeping. It's just beeping about the session I've got right now. So there you go.
Okay.
Yes. So
Right.
without further ado, how do you turn this to a slideshow? Ah, okay. You can still see my
Yes.
screen, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I hope the video recording is capturing that as well. Fingers crossed. If I apologies if I keep looking to my right, I'm just using two screens. So
That's
I'm
okay.
using one screen for the presentation and using the other
Right.
one to make eye contact. Just to keep
That's absolutely fine.
just to keep an eye. Yeah. So so the discovery sort of a mentoring program. So I've kind of introduced myself. In my sort of my private life, I basically work within the IT industry field. I work in specifically IT within investment banking. So
Okay.
yeah, I work for an investment banking firm, and effectively my role is to basically look after the applications which the firm and also which their clients use to sort of trade. So you'd have probably seen one of those, the likes of eToro and
Yes.
and something similar to those ones. And if you do
Okay.
cryptocurrencies, you've probably seen a trading platform of sorts if you're
I
well
I
aware of
I,
crypto.
I don't, but it sounds exciting.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, this is what I do in my normal life.
Okay.
I just look after those applications and the
Okay.
infrastructure used to support them. So that's what I
Great.
do on a day-to-day basis. So I can identify with this program because it's kind of in my line of work. So I'll be able to guide you and sort of
Great.
help you along the way with your project. So yeah, so
Fantastic.
I guess this is where you get to introduce yourself and tell me a bit
Yeah.
more about you, your background, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure, definitely. So, my name is Michael, and currently I'm a delivery driver. I've received the scholarship for this program through Deliveroo.
Okay.
Previously, I was working as administrator. I was working as operational
Hmm.
manager, and then after that, I also had my own business,
Okay.
actually two. But unfortunately, I had an accident at work that prevented me from doing most of the work. I had a
Uh,
knee injury,
uh-huh.
so I had to recover for quite a long time. And
Oh,
then after that, I found that delivery job work was actually suiting me the best because I could choose the
hmm.
hours. It wasn't so demanding,
Yeah.
so I can regenerate and recover from that.
Okay.
And now the opportunity came to actually step into the completely new direction.
Yes.
So that's why I've started this course.
Great. Great. That's fantastic. That's very, very, very good. Yeah, and I hope you get the most out of this training. So, good place to start your career in
Oh yes,
IT. Yeah, as an IT support technician. So,
yes,
yeah. So we've done a few words about ourselves. I've introduced myself. Yeah. So, you've basically mentioned that you're being funded. Your training's been funded by
yes,
Deliveroo.
yes,
Right.
yes,
And we both know your chosen path is the IT support technician part.
yes.
Any reason why you've decided to go for this path?
Yes, well, I've always loved computers. It was always my passion since my first PC, which was like Intel 133 megahertz and just a couple of megabytes of RAM,
Yeah.
and which I built myself.
Ah,
And then I was
fantastic.
upgrading it, so I really liked the hardware aspect of it. So, like, upgrading motherboard and then
Yes.
processors and graphic cards. So I was a gamer, early gamer, so I loved the hardware stuff. But
Oh
later
yeah.
on, I started helping my friends
Okay.
with some software issues. So I developed like a network for my friends and my family,
Uh-huh.
and I use TeamViewer to help them. I got two elderly parents that I've introduced to computers quite
Okay.
recently, and so I try to teach them remotely how
Oh
to do
wow. That's
things.
that's
And if
brilliant.
friends have any problems with like updates or some software or anything, I can always give them a hand with TeamViewer. And
Uh-huh.
also, I always advise them if they want to make any new purchases, like buying a new computer or gadgets. So it's always been like an interest and a hobby. So I was never working in that field, but it was a hobby. Now I think there's an opportunity to turn a hobby into actual work,
Yeah,
into a
absolutely.
job.
Fantastic. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a good. Sounds like you have a good grounding at least. So I think this should be fairly. It should make sense to you anyway as
Yes,
things
yes,
go on.
yes.
Hopefully you wouldn't have big challenges, and if you do,
I hope so.
that's why I'm here to to guide you along the
That's
right path.
great.
So
That's
yeah,
great. Because when I look through the curriculum, there are many things that I thought, oh, I know how to use Windows, how to install it. But when I just dived into your course and started looking, I realized I don't know anything about it.
it's always the case, isn't it? You think you know so
Yeah,
much, but then when you try to test yourself against, so
exactly.
you feel like, oh, there's still so much
Yes,
to learn. So, I mean,
exactly. So I'm really glad to do
y-
this course because
yeah, learning
so
is
many things I knew.
it's a lifelong learning, really. I mean, you don't really stop learning, really. Like,
Yes,
you can't stop
yes.
learning. So,
Yes.
that's a
So
good
I
thing.
don't consider myself a pro in computers. No, it was just my hobby. And now I know how much I have to learn and so many things that are new to me. So I'm really excited about this path.
Ah, that's brilliant. Yes. So, what next one? Okay, what's your deadline to complete the path? Do you know what your deadline is?
Yes. Well, I only have 6 months for this path. So
Yes.
that's limited by the apprenticeship. So
Okay. Yep. Yep.
it's,
Yep.
yeah, 6 months.
6 months. Yeah. So I believe. How do you come out of this full screen? I think I saw somewhere how to. Wait, hang on. There was a. I had it open earlier. If I can come up, if I can come up. Oh, there we go. So I think I got
Yes.
your dashboard somewhere. So
Yeah, my funding ends on 7th of January. So
that's
that's
right.
my deadline. Yes.
Yeah, I can see it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's still, plenty of time to cover a lot of stuff. So hopefully you'll
Yes.
be if there or thereabout at least
I hope
when
so.
it comes to completing the whole
Yeah,
the whole program. So yeah, I don't have any worries about that. So yeah. So regarding the path review, um, what you will learn, we can go through that quickly. I'm sure you've probably already seen it as well. Your
yes,
IT support technician sort of review. You can see it
yes,
there. So there's various entries in there, which basically just tells you about, what the program entails, what each project actually
yes,
entails. So I mean, we can
yes,
quickly whiz through that. First one being starting your journey as an IT support technician. Let me see. I can potentially open that in a new window, and then we can see. Yeah. So effectively, well, I'm not going to go through everything on this page, but
yes,
the whole the whole point of this particular project, like the starting your journey, is to basically be able to create your training plan. And I think
yes,
you kind of shared that in your last email. I think you started working on
yes,
that, right? So
yes.
that's very good.
I've created the calendar, so I plan to study about between 20 and 25 hours a week.
Yes.
So if everything goes according to plan, I should end on in the middle of November. So
Hmm.
I would be like 6 weeks ahead of the plan,
Yeah.
which I think is just healthy in case if I get in trouble or get any difficulties with
That's
everything.
exactly what it is.
Yeah,
You should pace yourself. I mean, not to rush too
yeah.
much, but at least give enough time just in case, you need
Yes.
to spend some more time
So
on.
I've created this calendar with, which project I want to do when. And
Hmm.
so that's what I've emailed you. I've emailed you actually, but just before our meeting, actually the first two deliverables, because
Hmm.
I've been working on them as well, but
Okay.
I didn't give you enough time to go through it. So maybe next
Yeah.
time.
That's no problem at all. That's absolutely fine. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously the whole point of like creating a plan is so that you're able to meet the deadline, right? Because that's the whole
Yes.
point of having a plan, so that you can absolutely focus on the key projects and key deliverables
Yes.
within the individual projects. And yeah, that's the whole point of I mean, in terms of an IT technician, I don't know, do you actually have an idea of what an IT technician, what they do in their normal role? Like, do you
Well,
have?
yes, I believe they sort of all sorts of problems, starting from problems with printers to
Yes,
problems with application systems,
correct.
networks.
Yeah,
So it's really quite wide range of issues that
correct.
people
Yes,
have. Yes,
yes. It's a wide ranging role, ranging
yeah,
from setting up network, setting up a computer, working
yeah,
with different teams, installing various things like Active Directory, various applications, setting up users, setting up email applications,
right.
fixing printers, setting up printers. So it's a wide-ranging role, more like a sort of a jack of all trades, really. So it requires,
Yes,
having a knowledge about, pretty much like almost every appliance, device, application going. So, so yeah,
oh
so
yes,
it's a very key role within the sort of an IT organization, as you can probably imagine.
oh yes,
Without IT technicians, like like most users will probably struggle, or most organizations will probably also
yes,
struggle. So it's a very key and important kind of role within
yeah,
any IT company. Well, in
absolutely.
fact, not necessarily IT company, within any company.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
everyone's
So
using computers, every
exactly,
corporation. So
exactly. So you definitely need to.
yeah,
It's a role in demand. So
and demand
yeah,
definitely.
yeah. So, in terms of your sort of deliverables for this project, you already know what
Yes,
they are. So, the
yes,
first thing to achieve is your training plan, which I know you've already started working on. And the other one
yes,
is your technology monitoring dashboard?
Yes, I've already done it as well. I've created one on Feedly, where
Yes.
I just subscribe it to a whole bunch of RSSs
Okay.
from tech news and networking and security. And also I've created a separate like Twitter account
Yes.
where I subscribe to plenty of tech
Various tech
accounts and
feeds. Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
And I'm using TweetDeck for this, so
Yes.
I get all of them in one place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my so I used only Twitter and Feedly for that for my monitoring
Okay.
uh,
Yeah,
dashboard.
those are good. I think they're good avenue to get your sort of updates from in terms of what's going
Mm.
on around you in
Yes,
the tech world. So it's a good
yes.
places to. I mean, there's always like tons and tons of places to get information from, but you know,
Yes,
I
but
think
I like Feedly because it still like aggregates everything in one
that's right.
place.
Yeah,
I don't have to go to like 10 different websites or
yeah,
15. It's all in one place, so it's really handy.
yeah. So how this two deliverables, how they are kind of how they are kind of marked, if you like, or appraised, is you have to sort of deliver the two items, put them in a
Yes,
folder, zip them, and name them. You know,
yes,
project title, last name,
yes.
first name. Yeah.
I've already done it, so you'll find it in your email.
Right.
So I've
Okay.
already sent them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So that's good. So basically, once there'll be like a panel, or if you like, a jury to review
Yeah.
them. And then
Sure.
once it's been reviewed, there's also like a presentation um,
Sure.
element to it. So I think the whole point of like, having a presentation element is obviously to be able to like defend your work, to say
Right.
this is the reason why I've done this, and this are the benefits. I think this will kind of afford me having done all those things. So
Okay.
you probably get asked some questions by an assessor, you
Okay.
know. So the assessor could
Sure.
potentially be your mentor or any other mentor within the organization.
Sure.
So yeah, so they'll basically just like ask questions or challenge your decisions about certain things, and then obviously it'll be up to you to then defend your work, to say this is the reason why, I've done
Okay.
that. Which are these are kind of the things you probably experience in your professional life anyway.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to, delivering a project or working on a project, you'd have different
Yes.
people with different opinions, and some people may ask, why did you do it this way? And then it'll be up to you
Of
to then be
course.
able to articulate, okay, this is the reason why I've done it this way. These are the pros, these are the cons,
Right.
and so on and so forth. So yeah, and
Yeah.
then and then you get like so basically the presentation will be 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then you get your about your monitoring dashboard. There would be like a 10 minute to talk about that, uh,
Okay.
and then there'll be like a question and answer session. Um,
Right.
it says it with your mentor, about
Mm-hmm.
completing this project, which probably me.
Yeah.
And then a debrief kind of presentation will end with a debrief with me,
Okay.
in terms of how do you think it went, what do you think you could have done better,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, so the whole presentation of deliverables will probably just last about 15 minutes, give or take, maybe five minutes here or there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, and then these are the two skills that we expect you to be able to pick up from that: to set up a technology monitoring dashboard and creating of a training plan. You know, so
Sure.
I mean, this is obviously relevant because even in your professional life, when you go on to like, work professionally, you should be able to create a plan of such,
Sure.
in terms of like, working on a project. This is how long the project will last. These are the things involved, in the project. So, yeah. And
Okay.
obviously, in the professional world, most organizations have like a sort of dashboard which they use to
Yes.
like monitor progress, various things, various issues, incidents, and so
Right.
this is obviously a good place to start getting used to that whole routine
Okay.
of having like sort of
Dashboard.
dashboard that you can
Yeah.
yeah that you can work with. So So yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty much the your first one. The
Yeah.
others that would involve the assembling the ideal
Yeah.
computer for your customer. Again,
Yes.
you're expected to spend like 30 hours in that. Deploying
Yes.
IT equipment for a startup, 60 hours,
Hmm.
and so on and so forth. So you can obviously drill down into each one to see
Yes.
what they're about. But at the moment, it's
Hmm.
just basically introduction into what we'll be covering during this whole
Yes.
mentoring program.
Okay.
Okay. So like you rightly said, 25 weeks. In terms of the frequency, probably once a week.
Yes.
Um, there is the actually let me before I deviate from the plan, let me see. Yeah, so we've done a path review. So in terms of jobs that you could do, we've already mentioned it could be a IT support technician, role mainly. So, and like I said, it's a wide ranging role, so you can do any job within that path. Could be like maybe whether it's Active Directory, which is what people use, which is what most organizations use to control user login and user
Right.
authentication into, yeah. So it could range from that right down to like, a full-blown IT support person. So, varies.
Okay.
Each session would be about 45 minutes mainly.
Okay.
Yeah. So your past and future competencies, basically, I've just gone through the overview of what you'll learn and the jobs
Yes.
that you can potentially do. So, one thing I would say is like, in order to kind of stay motivated, obviously every now and again, you can probably just look at the job market, places like IT job boards,
Yep.
CW jobs. Um,
Okay.
yeah, indeed, those are nice places to look in terms of, roles. You can look at roles like IT support technician, IT technician,
Hmm.
yeah, IT operations. Those are the kind of roles that you can look at.
Okay.
You can look at the kind of the job description.
Okay.
Yes, you can look at the job descriptions, like, what those jobs actually entail, and, start preparing yourself mentally. Like, you should be able to have skills to be able to, like, carry those roles out,
Okay.
So yeah. So, and obviously a bit of motivation is obviously everybody works for money. So
Yes.
if it wasn't for money, I'm pretty sure maybe most people will probably not be working unless they get some other enjoyment, derive some other enjoyment from it. But everybody works for money, so you
Yeah.
can obviously also see what the market is like, what the pay is
Yes.
like,
Hmm.
progression, into like a senior from like your normal into a senior role. Those
Right.
are the kind of things you can look out for on the job boards. So yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
Um, so how will you learn at open classrooms, and basically what will you learn? So it's more or less like it's not necessarily like a sort of just a theoretical kind of learning. It's more hands-on. So some people learn more by doing, you know, um,
Yes.
and some people learn obviously by just reading, but with an IT support technician path, I think you definitely need to learn by doing, because you
Yes.
need to make those mistakes and be able to, like, figure out why things aren't working, be able to find the right source of information. Google is your friend, to be able to like go to forums, for example, to ask questions. And you need to be
Yes.
able to like ask the right questions as well in order to be able to get the right answers. So
Right.
there is open classrooms, the web. I don't know if you're familiar with the forum. Let me
A
see if I
workplace.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
like
Yes. Yes.
open classroom workplace where you can,
Yes. Yes. I've already registered
yeah,
and
yeah.
I've already attended
You've attended a
one or
few,
two,
yeah.
yeah,
That's good.
events.
So
Yeah.
you do get, as you can see, I get like regular updates, like
Yes.
on a daily basis, more or less.
True.
regarding people doing updating and
Yes, yes.
posting all sorts on there. So yeah, place to it's a good place to go to get
Yes,
information. Let me see
that's
if
true.
I can find my login. Yeah. So this is what it looks like.
Yep.
So yeah, so you can see various like groups. So in this case, this is the IT support mentors one. So
Yep.
you get various entries in here, people asking various questions. This is a good place to come when you're stuck. I'll probably
Yes.
direct you here, like, most of the time when you're stuck, and also try to help you find various like learning materials. So you can see people share all sorts of information there. You can see
Yeah.
people sharing how to install virtual machine and so on and
Yes.
so forth. So this is a good place to come to ask questions and also to
Right.
find resources basically for your learning. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So back to the presentation. Yeah. Yeah. So projects, courses, personal study. Obviously, all that will be laid out in your planning. I
Yes.
know the number of hours I know is kind of laid out in the on there per project
Yes.
in terms of what's expected, 20 hours. But there's still a decent amount of hours that you probably have to spend, like learning about stuff like the theoretical aspects, reading about
Right.
different things, how things work, why it works that way, so that I think you'll probably gain more from that, in terms of, okay,
Right.
getting more information in order to help you, in order the information that would help you kind of, resolve any challenges you may face within each of the projects. So
Okay.
that's another thing to kind of look out for.
Right.
Yeah. So the whole point of that is to obviously help you build up your skills through exploration outside of open classrooms.
Right.
Yeah. So you'll be able to like read articles online. You'll be able to like go on forums to find out information, be able to read like white papers published by product owners, for example, you know.
Right.
And then
Okay.
also personal study, obviously good pace,
Hmm.
be able to like give yourself study time and pace yourself, you know. So see, it says right there, you aim to spend double the number of hours indicated on the personal study time. I think that's how you're
Okay.
going to get the most value. Because I'm not going to like lie to you. Even in my professional life, I'd
Right.
say I actually went to university. So it
Right.
looks like we've got 10 minutes left, but ignore that.
Yes.
I went to the university, but I can tell you that majority of what I actually learned at university, I don't think I used most of them, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Most of the things I know now are things that I've actually had to sit down to kind of learn and research by myself.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I had
Okay.
the background knowledge, which is what you're also doing now. But
Right.
in terms of actually doing stuff and knowing about real life things in a real life scenario, a workplace
Yes.
environment, they're things that I've actually had to spend my own personal time
Right.
to sit down, find out about it, read about it. I wish I could show you my
Okay.
room. I've got tons and tons of books literally underneath this desk that I'm talking to you from. So
Right.
yeah, so that's how I've gained the knowledge over the years. So yeah,
Okay.
yep. So next the agenda. Uh, well, I think this is probably much for me, I think. So obviously the idea is the whole point of doing this is to obviously be able to get a job right after you complete this path, which is why I think
Yes.
most people kind of go through this learning this journey anyway. Okay.
Right.
So you should be able to have 6 individual coaching sessions in 2 months, like it says, minimum. So I don't know what
Okay.
your plan is, but I suppose we'll probably have a look at the plan to sort of figure out, okay, do we want to do once a week, twice a week for this session? So you should be able
Yeah.
to go on.
After finishing a course, yes. After
Yeah.
finishing the course, then yes, I want to get straight to looking for a job.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you should be able to write a CV and a cover letter that would come later. Preparation for interviews, doing personal branding, how to build a professional network, job search techniques, all that will kind of be
Yeah.
covered. So your learning support network I've already mentioned. So myself, you can lean on me. I'll be able to help you, point you in the right direction for information. There's also your student success manager as well.
Yes.
So like I said, my role is a personal mentorship on a weekly basis. Okay.
Okay.
So we catch up every week. And if you feel like, you need maybe more sessions, like maybe more than once a week, then we can obviously talk about that and arrange that. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll provide guidance on resources and skills acquisition. I'll answer some of your questions and give you feedback on your project. Okay. I hope you develop your capacity for independent learning. So that will mostly come from me just giving you resources to go and read up and research
Okay.
about. Okay. Help you prepare for your project assessment, be able to set smart goals with you for
Okay.
consistent progress. Okay. And then obviously open classrooms is always there for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So it says here my role is limited to mentorship and learner support. For all
Well,
other questions about your path, you can always go to the admin or
yeah.
just send an email to Open Classrooms directly. Okay.
Of course.
Yeah. So your primary contacts at Open Classrooms is probably me and also the student success team, which you can reach
Yes.
here. Yeah. So we've already discussed how the mentorship works. So yeah, so how do we work together? We just have to schedule our sessions at least a week in advance. So
Okay.
you can mail me if you feel like you need, more sessions
Sure.
than just one.
Okay.
You can just drop me a mail or drop me a message via the forum. Yeah,
Okay.
and then we can schedule it. Maybe we just use Google Meet for now. So
Okay.
we'll be able to set smart goals at the end of each session. So that would then tell, okay, before our next meeting, what should you have achieved? What should you have covered, before we get to the
Of course.
next week? Yeah. And then obviously when it comes to that week, that would be the obvious thing to cover. Like, okay, what have you done
Right.
during that period? Have you actually covered what we've agreed on? Yeah. So that's the idea.
Sure.
Yeah. And then basically every week I'll estimate your progress on each of the projects. So where you should be,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So like I said, we just set target amount on your personal study time per week.
Okay.
Follow, yeah, and we just follow the course plan. And we'll validate the projects, prepare your questions before each week. So if you have questions, you can write them down or send them in an email, and then we can cover it like during our session. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can take notes to better organize your study time and skill acquisition. So yeah. So attendance is obviously very important because
Of
that's where
course.
we get to like review and catch up, and you ask your questions and I'm able to answer them. And if I can't answer them, I can point you in the right direction. Okay.
Yes. That's
Okay.
okay.
So we'll have a look at your training calendar once everything is sorted. Yeah. So that's exactly what I just said. You study between sessions. Like I said, you're not alone. There's the workplace.
Workplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do that. Okay. Uh, Yeah, so obviously after each session, you get a survey by email. It's always good to like
Okay.
go through that so that we know where to improve on or what to improve on. if you want us to improve on, you can just be honest, give a feedback, Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, and I think finally that one. Yeah. So absence with no notice. That means the session is lost, and I think you'd
Oh,
probably still be charged for that one.
yeah.
Okay. You can't accumulate unused sessions, so you have to use it once it's booked. It needs to be
Oh,
used. Okay. Update your profile on the platform. I'm sure you've probably already done that. So
yes.
see that. Yeah. So what did we cover? So we went through your training. We'll go through your training calendar, um, which I think I've seen already. And next mentoring session, we can book that now if you want. We can do the same time next week if you want. Yeah.
Yes.
If that
Yes.
works
That's
for you.
fine. That
Yeah.
works for me. Yes.
Okay. So I'll schedule one for at the same time next week. So your profile should be accurate and up to date for assessment. So just make sure that's done.
Okay.
So our next session will basically be going through all those things that we've mentioned. So like setting your personal plan and also those dashboards. So make sure they're all ready, intact, ready to go, and then we
Right.
can hit the ground running from next week.
Right.
Yeah,
If it's okay, I would like
yeah,
to hit the ground running as soon as possible because,
yeah. That's fine. Yeah, yeah.
according to my plan, I should be finishing these, the first project now and the second one next
Okay.
week. So
Second one next week. Oh wow. I think
yeah.
that's a bit ambitious. No.
No, these two first projects are really, quite introductory, I believe, and they
Okay.
should be done quite quickly because, as far as I've seen, the project three is a massive
That's
beast, and
massive. Yeah.
and
Okay.
yeah. So I think it's gonna take me a long time,
Take you a long
and
time. Okay.
yes, and I'm not quite also sure about the hardware requirements because, as I've seen, you need 16 gigs of RAM for the third project.
Yeah.
Uh, and my laptop only has 6.
Ah,
but
wow.
but the
Okay.
thing is that I've already started doing some virtual machines on it, and it
Yes.
runs without any problem.
Okay.
So so I'm not sure if I would say I'm not too keen on buying a new computer, but
No, no, no,
I
no.
just
That's fine. Just in
yeah
case the session disconnects, you can always reconnect. Okay. Yeah.
okay
So I wouldn't say buy a new computer because that's a
right
big cost to you.
yes
So
yes
I'm sure there are ways around it. I'll read up on it, find out to see how you can make do.
okay
So
yeah yeah
can always touch
but
up on that. Yeah, and
that's great
I mean, if you feel like you want to start reading up on all the next projects, yeah, feel free. Don't feel like you're stuck. But as long as we're still on track, I
yes
think that's the main
yes
thing.
okay
So
okay
this session was meant to be like the first discovery session, just to
okay
talk about the plan. But from the next
okay
one, we are definitely going
yeah
to hit the ground running.
that's great
And
when we can
absolutely.
schedule the assessment.
Okay.
Do you know how long does it take to get an assessment for the project? So, roughly.
Um, roughly, I don't know how long it takes to get the assessment
Okay.
done, but ideally, according to the project plan, it says to have spent at least let's see, where's my let me try to share my screen again. Hang on. Okay. Screen share. So if I share the right. Okay. So if I quickly go back to the presentation bit here. So once you've got your deliverables set up and obviously you've submitted your deliverables to in this format.
Yes.
Yeah. So it says for the first project, you'll have an oral presentation for your mentor that will be recorded. Okay. So again, that's with me. Okay.
Okay.
So that's with me. And then the assessor will challenge your decisions, so be prepared to defend your work.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think there's any limitation in terms of
Okay. Because
when.
when I clicked on the assessment
Yes,
in the dashboard,
yes.
it says you are not ready to present this project. So,
Yeah, because I think you have to spend the relevant number of hours. I mean, if we go back to where is it now? Yeah,
uh,
so technically this should take around 20 hours just to complete this particular task. But
yes.
if you feel like you're in a position where you want to go for it, and if we well by next session anyway, we'll be going through going over your plans
Okay.
in terms of what you've done so far,
Right.
both for the dashboard and also the plan. So once we've
Right.
gone over that, then we'll be able to assess whether we're at the stage where you can present
Okay.
those two deliverables.
Okay. Can we cover the second project at the same time, or just one at the time?
We
Because
can, yeah, I think it's best to go through it one at a time. I know you're quite eager
okay.
to go through,
Yes,
but we can
because
have a brief look to see what the second one entails, so we can lay the
yes.
groundwork for that. And
Sure. Well,
yeah, no problem at all. We can
but if you can have a look, because I've prepared both the quotation and the diagram for the second project. So
okay.
if you when we meet next time,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. Sure, no
if
problem.
you believe it's okay,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can
No, no, no,
schedule like
not
two
at all. Yeah, not at
two
all. We can.
assessments at once. I
Yeah,
know I sound like I want to rush things, but
yeah.
when I look at the calendar, it's
You you
I
want to
see
cover a
those big.
lot in 6 months.
Yes, I want to finish before the 6 months, not just now.
No problem.
Um, because when the time runs out, my course will finish, and I won't be able to get a diploma because of the structure of the course.
Yeah,
So
don't worry.
yeah,
It will be covered by then. You don't worry. I mean, obviously, some people would obviously apply, more hours, and others may not
yes,
necessarily apply all those hours. So it depends on how quickly you're willing to or how many hours you're willing
yes,
to spend on the tasks really.
yes,
So yeah,
yes.
so I see no reason why you won't be able to finish within the 6 months time frame.
Okay,
So yeah. So for
okay,
our next session, we'll be covering the two deliverables for project one,
okay.
and we'll also have a quick look at the requirements for project two.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'll drop you an email, same time next week, which is what's the date next week actually? Next week, Thursday. It's my calendar. I can get my calendar up and running. Okay, I have one here. Okay.
21st. Yep.
So next Thursday is the 21st. So
Yep.
we can schedule one. I'm gonna send you an invite for the 21st, and then yeah, we can cover
Okay.
those two things. I've made a note anyway of the things that need to
Okay.
get done.
And
Yeah.
it's 6 p.m. as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Work
6
for you?
p.m.
Yeah.
6 p.m. is
Great.
ideal. Yeah.
Great
But I'll
stuff.
let you
Yeah.
know well in advance if anything changes. Likewise, if anything
Okay.
changes for you,
Sure.
just let me know well in advance.
Of course. Of course I
Yeah.
will.
All right.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so we can catch up again same time next week. In the meantime,
Okay.
if you have any questions, or the things that you're worried about, or you want to
Yes.
have answered, you can always use the open classroom forum. Just post your question there. I'm
Sure.
pretty sure I'll keep an eye on there as well, just in case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
All
do
right.
that.
All right. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you very much. Thanks for
Okay.
the meeting.
Catch
Okay.
you next week.
Next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cheers.
See
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.